I tend to be that person who patience runs at this level, but then when it runs out, it's like going off a cliff. I always say I'm a very patient person, but it has a dramatic ending to it. Hi, I don't often use myself as an example, and I hope you will indulge me this time, if you don't mind, that I use myself to make the point I'm trying to make in this particular broadcast. I want to talk for a moment about patience. I was being referred to, and I've had a conversation with my wife just about this recently, because people see me as not being a very patient person. And I argue that I am. But I do recognize that I do have certain weaknesses. And the way I describe it is this. Patience is you start from a level and then your patience starts, I think the expression is wears thin. It goes down and down until finally it runs out, okay? And it's a nice slope, and people's slopes may be different, and the length by which they will go before their patience runs out can vary from person to person. I recognize I tend to be that person who patience runs at this level, but then when it runs out, it's like going off a cliff. I always say I'm a very patient person, but it has a dramatic ending to it because it's not tapered by any means. I've had enough, and that's it. The plug is pulled, if you like. So the reason for me bringing this up and using myself as an example is because I wanted to ask you about yourself. What's your tolerance? What's your patience? Do you know it? Do you recognize it? And more importantly, do the people around you know and recognize it? Because if you are seen as being impatient, then that can be a detriment to your leadership style and your approach. And if people understand that what type you are one that's tapers off quickly, or you one who tapers off very slowly and goes out over a period of time, or are you like me, it's somebody who can be very, very patient, but sadly when it finishes quite dramatically and it stops. And I'm not justifying it, I'm not saying I'm right or anything like that. I'm just saying knowing it, also knowing it about your team. If you've got a management team and you're the leader, then what are those other managers like? And have you consciously recognized that and able to work with it? So just a thought for you. Take a moment of reflection. Think about your own style. Do you appreciate that you do have a style? Do the people around you understand it? Because if they understand it, I find if I tell people, I've got lots of patience, but when it runs out, it's not going to be funny. It's going to be quite dramatic. I'm happy to tell people that, and they understand that. So it lessens the impact in some ways for them. So think it through, evaluate yourself, get others in your team and think about them as well. And see if it's something that's not going against your leadership style, but actually is a positive intent towards your leadership style. I hope that's been helpful. See you next time.